for 2023. Can-Am is replacing their beloved but aging Outlander 450 and 570 with their brand new sport utility Outlander 500 and 700, available in both single and two-seat max configurations. Joining them is the Outlander 700 XMR purpose-built mud machine, along with the more utility and hunting-focused Outlander Pro HD5 and HD7, all available as single-seat configurations only at this time. By utilizing a single engine and chassis throughout their entire single-seat mid-bore line, with unique engine and suspension tuning for different models, Can-Am's single-platform design is reintroducing some pretty astounding pricing on brand new ATVs at a time when MSRPs are going through the roof. Check out our 2023 Can-Am Outlander 700 and 500 first look review video for a full breakdown on the different models, features, and pricing on the new Outlanders in detail. For the first press ride of the new Outlanders, Can-Am invited a small group of media out to the BMF Ranch in Edgewood, New Mexico, home of factory side-by-side racer and one of the winningest fighters in UFC history, Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
Welcome everybody from ATV On Demand. We are at the BMF Ranch. This is about 500 acres of the most fun you could have as a child and a grown-up. I just grew up, decided I wanted to make a place where I could shoot guns, ride bikes, and just basically do anything I could ever dream of. So welcome, today is Can-Am Day. We're introducing a bunch of new ATVs. We're gonna go ride, have fun, and enjoy the ranch.
Throughout the two-day event, we spent most of our time riding their premium recreation model, the Outlander XT 700. We also rode the very base model two-wheel drive non-power steering equipped Outlander 500. We took the XMR 700 for a quick run through the mud, along with factory Can-Am side-by-side and mud racer Dustin Jones, and spent a little time getting the feeling for the performance and benefits offered by the new Outlander Pro HD models. ATV On Demand's test of the brand new 2023 mid-bore ATV lineup from Can-Am was made possible by GBC Dirt Commander tires deliver proven value and performance in all conditions. A great choice for recreational or work ATVs, performance proven in cross-country racing. An 8-ply design makes them tough. Relatively lightweight maximizes the performance of your ATV. Widely spaced center knobs offer good mud cleanout and excellent performance in loamy conditions. Deep sipes in the tread offer additional biting edges for improved grip in hardpack and slick rocks. Curved shoulder knobs provide traction in deep ruts. Sizes available between 25 and 32 inches for ATVs and side-by-sides. Available at your local power sports dealer. We use Maxima SC1 on our fleet of ATVs to help prevent mud buildup, speed cleanup, reduce the look of minor scratches, restore deep factory color and shine, and of course, there's the legendary SC1 scent. More than a new bike in a can, this magic spray works great on mountain bikes, automobiles, boots, or just about any other plastic, vinyl, rubber, or carbon fiber surface. Get Maxima SC1 at your local power sports dealer or at maximausa.com. Features and specifications. Evaluating so many different models with so much in common, we'll break down the features and specifications followed by our impressions of the machines. Most of the specifications of the new Outlanders are class-leading in nearly every way, among 4x4s under 50 inches in width. Beginning with the engine, the Outlander 500 and 700, HD5 and HD7 have more to do with expected horsepower and torque for a given class than actual displacement. The new Outlanders are powered by a single-cylinder Rotax Ace 650cc 4-valve double-overhead cam water-cooled 4-stroke engine fed via fuel injection. According to Can-Am, the 500 and HD5 models produce 40 horsepower and 37 foot-pounds of torque. The 700 and HD7 produce 50 horsepower and 41 foot-pounds of torque, more power than any other single-cylinder 4x4 ATV on the market. Different camshafts and ECU tuning yield the difference in performance and price, with the 700 and HD7 models costing $800 more than their 500 and HD5 equivalents. The cylinders were canted rearward with exhaust that exit out the back of the machine. Full coverage, easily removable side panels were also added, all in an effort to help mitigate heat felt by the rider. Pro XU and Hunting editions feature drive-by-wire throttles, with the HD7s offering Can-Am's intelligent throttle control with work, standard, and sport modes. While all of the new Outlanders feature engine braking, the drive-by-wire equipped Pro models also benefit from Can-Am's selectable 3-mode intelligent engine braking, offering 3 different levels of braking assistance. They also feature Can-Am's clever speed limiter, which allows you to set a maximum top speed for prolonged low-speed work duties. Digitally encoded security system keys used on the Pro XU and Hunting editions can also have speed limitations programmed in. The other models use cable-actuated throttles and standard key switches, without all of the throttle, speed, and engine braking modes found on the higher-end Pro models. The integrated, constantly variable transmission features Can-Am's P-Drive primary and oversized driven clutch. P-Drive features rollers in the primary clutch for smoother engagement, faster back shifts, and reduced maintenance. Can-Am tells us that although tuning is different, the design of the Outlander's P-Drive transmission is nearly identical to that used in the 200 horsepower Maverick X3 side-by-side, which should make it pretty bomb-proof in an ATV. CVT calibration is unique between the 500 and HD5, the 700 and HD7, with the HD models designed to run at a slightly lower RPM. The 500 and 700 receive unique calibration due to their different horsepower and torque outputs. The transmission features high and low forward ranges plus neutral reverse and park. Pro and XMR models feature slightly lower gearing for their harder working and mud churning intentions. Helical cut gears were used in the transmission and differentials to help reduce noise and vibration. The gear selector was redesigned for smoother shifting. Intakes for the engine and CVT draw air from high in front of the rider where it's furthest away from flying dirt and water. Heat exchange inside the transmission is said to have been optimized through the use of computer-aided design, with the CVT exhaust venting toward the rear of the Outlander, again minimizing heat transfer to the rider. Built to go deep, the intakes and CVT vent are mounted even higher on the XMR. Base model Outlander 4x4s feature Can-Am's Visco Lock auto-locking front differential that automatically locks in both front tires if one front tire starts spinning. DPS models take advantage of Can-Am's quicker engaging Visco Lock QE front differential, with power steering there to prevent any unwanted kickback to the steering. Pro XU Hunting editions and the XMR 700 benefit from Can-Am's Visco 4-lock front differential, providing the benefit of a fully lockable front differential at the flip of a switch. The materials and design that went into the engine have led Can-Am to recommend maintenance intervals of once a year or every 2,000 miles, with the exception of the air filter, of course, leading to a lower cost of ownership. If it were our machine, we'd cut those service intervals at least in half, but we hate giving money to the dealer for repairs, so that's us. The new mid-bore Outlanders feature the most suspension travel and ground clearance of any 4x4 ATV under 50 inches in width. A brand new tubular steel alloy chassis features enhanced durability and rigidity while being 35% lighter than the old 450/570 chassis. The entire underside of the new frame is protected by a 5.5mm plastic skid plate that's a claimed 40% thicker than the competition's. It features small holes in key areas for easy engine maintenance. Newly designed A-arms up front feature revised rake for better bump absorption, and arched lower A-arms for improved ground clearance over a wider area. Out back, we were surprised to see Can-Am abandon their torsional trailing arm setup in favor of a dual A-arm configuration. Rubber bushings are used throughout the chassis to minimize noise and increase durability. A sway bar is used out back to help keep body roll in check. Compared to the outgoing 450 and 570, most new single-cylinder Outlanders received a 1.25 increase in front suspension travel to 9 3/4 inches, and a 1 3/4 inch increase in rear suspension travel to 10 1/4 inches. Preload adjustable shocks are used at all 4 corners. The Pro and XMR models feature unique, stiffer spring rates and valving due to their intentions to haul more or get weighed down with heavy mud. The XMR features slightly less travel, with 9 inches front and 9 3/4 inches rear to offset its taller 28-inch tires. The XMR and all of the DPS and Up models on the sport utility side feature Can-Am's Tri-Mode dynamic power steering. along with the XU and hunting editions on the Pro models. New single-seat Outlanders have a 53-inch wheelbase and measure in between 47.6 and 48.8 inches in width, with those using 14-inch wheels being a bit wider due to the wheel design. Covering our test units, the two-wheel drive Outlander 500 rolls on 25x8 front and 25x10 rear tires mounted on 12-inch steel wheels, delivering 12 inches of ground clearance. The XT700 rides on slightly more aggressive 26x8 front and 26x10 rear XPS Trail Force tires mounted on 14-inch cast aluminum rims, providing 12.5 inches of ground clearance. The XMR rolls on 28x8-inch fronts and 28x10-inch rear XPS Swamp King tires mounted on 14-inch cast aluminum wheels, delivering 13 inches of ground clearance. All of the utility-focused Pro models roll on 6-ply 26-inch tires. The Pro HD XU models feature 26x8-inch front and 26x10-inch rear XPS Trail King tires mounted on 12-inch cast aluminum wheels, yielding 13 inches of ground clearance, due in part to the Pro's stiffer suspension settings. These are not the mid-size 450 and 570. The new mid-bore Outlanders are full-size machines with extra thick seats to add to the seat height. They could be the tallest on the market, between 38 and 38.6 inches in height. Hydraulic disc brakes slow the Outlander, with dual 214mm rotors front and a single 214mm rotor used out back, squeezed by dual piston calipers at both ends. New metallic brake pads were used for improved durability. The ergonomics of the handlebar-mounted brake lever were changed, in search of improved power and modulation. There's a right-side mounted foot brake that operates the rear brake independently. Utility capability is unique, in addition to having hauling and towing ratings that are once again class-leading among ATVs under 50 inches in width. Rack capacity is 120 pounds front and 240 pounds rear, with a 2-inch hitch receiver rated to tow 1,830 pounds across the lineup, although the XMR's front rack is taken up by the relocated radiator and snorkels. There's a 1-gallon storage box located between the rider's knees, with a cell phone holder and USB connector on certain models. The front rack features a massive 9-gallon storage box in the center. Plus, the lid can be removed, providing an open tray that sits down inside the perimeter front steel rack. Out back, a steel perimeter rack surrounds an open bed, similar to a scaled-down version of what you'd find on the back of a side-by-side. Ideal for sitting a cooler or other items in, rather than trying to strap them down to the top of a rack. As it comes from the factory, we applaud Can-Am for taking a little different approach to onboard hauling and storage, offering some unique versatility and capabilities that many riders will find attractive. We certainly do. Can-Am has an impressive line with over 75 accessories available at the time of launch. They include perhaps the safest way to bring along a chainsaw that we've ever seen, for your saw, ATV, and yourself. It is perhaps the most easy to customize ATV on the market for getting work done and big outdoor adventures. When it comes to the new styling, looks are definitely in the eye of the beholder, but one thing everyone should be able to agree on is an appreciation for Can-Am's use of LED lights front and rear. Yours truly handled a majority of our testing duties for once, with help from our friend Matt Lester from Dirt Tracks TV, who was kind enough to ride for some additional footage. We highly encourage you to check out their upcoming content on the new Outlanders, and we'll link it up as soon as it goes live. Hopping aboard the new Outlander XT 700, we were greeted by the best ergonomics we've experienced on a Can-Am sport utility machine. It's narrower between your knees and smooth down the sides all the way to the foot pegs, without the bulges from the transmission found on their V-twin models. The plastic foot pegs were reasonably sized, with ample room in the footwell area. The handlebars and the rest of the controls were well placed and provided a good quality feel. We're glad that Can-Am left the LED display in front of the handlebars, offering more protection and making swapping handlebars easier. The Outlander fires right up without hesitation. Shifting up and down on the new gated gear selector was smooth in either direction, never hanging up like the previous and current Outlander models can occasionally do. We'll require more testing on a steep incline before we say that it's perfect, but the gated shifter has certainly been improved. Hitting the test course, the 700's power delivery was amazingly smooth from bottom to top. Initial impression was that power was a little on the soft side, although realizing we were testing at 6,300 feet in elevation, our machines were losing around 20% of their total horsepower. Low-end power was good, but the combination of the altitude, the machine's rather hefty 858-pound dry weight, and the seamless experience of the P-Drive roller clutch's engagement makes low-end power feel a little less impressive than it may actually be under load from a large hill or a heavily laden trailer. In spite of its weight, we had no trouble sliding the machine through corners in two-wheel drive, proving that there's power on tap. Power builds, pulling hardest in the middle and the upper mid-range, gaining speed respectably. Throttle response was good, and the transmission responded well to throttle input. The 700's engine did not disappoint, but we'd like to ride the 108-pound lighter DPS 700 at lower altitude in order to form a clear opinion on how it stacks up to the other big bore singles. Suspension settings and a long wheelbase keep the Outlander feeling planted under braking and acceleration. It doesn't come off as a wheelie machine on the flats, and we suspect the front end should be well planted on steep climbs. Without many square-edged bumps from roots and rocks, it was difficult to fully evaluate suspension performance. The ride felt firm yet forgiving over bumps. The edge was taken out of holes in the trail surface, and we only managed to bottom the shocks once, very softly, overshooting one of the small tabletop jumps left on our test course. In the one small rock garden we experienced, the suspension was composed and recovered quickly from bumps, keeping you riding high in the travel, maximizing ground clearance. Suspension performance seemed sporty and well-rounded, as we've come to expect on premium models from Can-Am. We quickly forgot about the machine's tall seat height. The width, sway bar, and shock settings add up to an ATV that corners nice and flat, with little diving or body roll entering turns. If the back end starts coming around in turns in two-wheel drive, the long wheelbase keeps it from feeling abrupt or unexpected. On the relatively smooth high-speed straights on which we tested, the Outlander never felt nervous or twitchy. Power steering calibration might be the best we've seen from a Can-Am, often using high assist in four-wheel drive and mid assist in two-wheel drive. Steering effort was light enough, but we need more roots, rocks, and ruts to run into to test its ability to filter bump feedback. We feel the chassis and suspension could hold up to a bigger, more powerful engine, making the new Outlander 700 feel well-planted, manageable, and safer, especially for less experienced riders. Braking power was good with a single lever handbrake. Although we included the use of the foot brake from time to time, we never felt it was very necessary. Engine braking was smooth and adequate, without any harsh feeling of engagement or as much driveline chatter as we've experienced on some other machines. We felt that Can-Am delivered on their promise of a relatively quiet machine with little engine heat, unless we sat still with the engine running for a period of time. At the end of day one, the Outlander XT 700 left us feeling pretty fresh and unfatigued, thanks to its smooth engine characteristic, confidence-inspiring handling that allowed us to relax, its well-cushioned seat, and redesigned ergonomics. Overall, we came away with a very good first impression of the brand new 2023 Can-Am Outlander XT 700. Next, we threw a leg over the entry-level sub-$6,000 two-wheel drive Outlander 500, swapping back and forth between it and the XT 700 for reference. Separated by 10 horsepower, but only 4 foot-pounds of torque, the 140-pound lighter 500 seemed nearly as powerful in the bottom third of the RPM range as the 700, which was impressive. Power builds throughout the mid-range. This is where the difference in engine performance between the 500 and 700 shows up, with the 700 pulling noticeably harder. The 500 might not beat the 700 in a drag race, but its impressive low-end torque and capable mid-range shouldn't leave it far behind when it comes to getting work done or casual riding. Suspension performance was nearly identical between the 500 and 700, with perhaps a touch more bottoming resistance left in reserve for the lighter, less powerful 500. Handling was very good and once again similar to the 700, although the difference in weight felt obvious aboard the lighter weight 500, in spite of it not coming equipped with power steering. Can-Am appears to have the chassis steering characteristic dialed well enough that power steering is a luxury, not a necessity as we've come to view it. Without the benefit of four-wheel drive to help pull you through turns, the 500 did well at going where it was pointed, with a little hint of pushing or oversteering. Ergonomics are on par with Can-Am's top-of-the-line mid-bore machine, and the 500's lighter weight made its brakes feel even more impressive. The capability and affordability of two-wheel drive recreational utility machines are often overlooked by manufacturers. We're glad to see Can-Am bring a new one to market. On day 2, Donald Cerrone put us to work feeding his animals at the BMF Ranch, and we're pretty sure that the turkeys, bison, and other critters appreciated the relatively quiet operation of the Outlander Pro HD5. Utilizing the same engine as the Outlander 500 with different clutch calibration to match its working intention, the Pro HD5 revved a little slower and didn't backshift quite as quickly as the 500, although it still seemed decently spirited on the trail, especially when you threw in a few S-curves. 3-mode intelligent engine braking is a very cool feature. Switching from minimum to maximum under deceleration, you can really feel the difference in engine braking power. Minimum is subtle, with max engine braking more substantial but certainly not harsh when you chop the throttle. The throttle speed limiter is perfect for working a food plot, mowing, or plowing, in spite of the Pro HD shocks and 6-ply tires being a little stiffer than the more recreational focused Outlanders. The difference on the trail is small and didn't leave us feeling beat up. Dynamic power steering works as well on the Pro HD models as it does on the standard Outlanders. The Outlander Pro HD5 and HD7 bring everything that's great about using a ride-on ATV for work to the table, including a relatively low purchase price, low cost of ownership and operation, small storage space required, and the ability to get big things done on large or small plots of land. And of course, being an ATV, in spite of their working intentions, we still found them pretty fun to ride. Unfortunately, we didn't get much time on the one XMR 700 that Can-Am had on hand. Given a few runs through a mud pit after being shown how it's done by Can-Am's own Dustin Jones, the 700 did well building some speed before jumping into the mud pit. It had plenty of power and torque on tap to keep all 4 wheels spinning with the front differential lock engaged. The ride on dry land felt similar to the Pro in terms of how stiff the suspension was, but we truly don't have enough time to fully evaluate the machine. Even still, at just over $10,000, it's going to be pretty tough to beat in terms of value from Mud Machine. In conclusion, we're extremely thrilled with how much ATV Can-Am has delivered for the money. They blew us away with the Outlander 450 and 500, later 570 in 2015, and they've done it again with the Outlander 500 and 700 in 2023. Being completely objective though, these are full-size chassis ATVs, not the mid-size machines they replaced. While they are fast enough, well suspended, excellent handling, and as customizable as a Christmas tree, they are not mid-size ATVs, and some riders simply want to ride something lighter and more compact. What Can-Am is offering is pretty astounding though, delivering newly designed brand new 2023 Outlanders at prices that reflect the competition from years ago, when things were far more affordable. The performance offered for the dollar on the new mid-board 2023 Outlander lineup should certainly make them stand out for some time to come. For more tests like this, make sure to subscribe to ATV On Demand. To check out the entire 2023 Can-Am Outlander lineup, visit canamoffroad.com.